Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jennifer. I am so happy to have you here. We're going to need to be among friends because today, folks, I need to issue you a trigger warning. Doo, 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 doo. I'm in Germany now, so that's the way that the sirens sound. Doo, 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 doo. Okay, yeah, I'm annoying. But this is beyond annoying. Netflix and Meghan Markle have decided to drop on us in the dog days of summer. We're already miserable enough, sweating like pigs everywhere we go anyway. We have to now be subjected to the season 2 trailer of With Love, Meghan. And I gotta tell you, I had to pop on really quick and film this video today. I had one that I was working on, that I was editing, that I was getting ready to upload, and then this crapola drops in the middle of the night. And I have to say that's one of the cool things about living in a different time zone off of the North American continent, because I don't have to be subjected to this stuff right when it drops. I can go to bed, wake up, and then see it. So maybe I can have a good night's sleep and not be tortured by the demonic With Love Meghan series. But yeah, so I wake up to all this drama. The trailer dropped. Everyone's freaking out. And I'm thinking to myself, who is the only person probably on both sides of the Atlantic that is happy and wiping their brow that it got released? Probably Prince Andrew. I'd have to say, Prince Andrew's probably happy that this trailer dropped and now Meghan's getting even more heat than usual because he was getting a crap ton of heat about that book that Andrew Youre wrote called Entitled. It's coming out very soon. And he's probably happy that no one's talking about him today and probably for the next few days because now all we're going to talk about, and Meghan and Netflix know this, is this trailer. And I got to tell you, are you in your happy place? Then I do apologize if you're in a happy place because I'm going to take you to a place that's probably not going to be so happy, but gather around, okay? Get any supplies that you need to soothe and comfort yourself as you accompany me on this just crazy journey. Whatever you need. So if you need a tasty beverage, if you need your cuddly blanket, you need your little pet, your little, emotional animal. Today we're all going to be just in Pedro Pascal world because as we all know, Pedro is very nervous and anxious. He has social anxiety. He needs his friends and family to help him out all the time. So whatever you need to do to get through today and this video, go ahead and grab it. I'll wait, pause the video, but I don't know. Maybe you need a whole box of Dunkin' Munchkins. I don't know, whatever it is, but I watched the trailer. And all I gotta say is we need to forget waterboarding. Just forget that as a terror tactic to get people to talk and to torture them. Forget waterboarding. Just put this thing on an endless 24-hour loop on full blast, and that'll have way more of an effect, okay? I don't know what I'm watching. Well, I know what I'm watching. I'm watching a continuation of the torture that was season 1. First of all, do not buy the garbage that Meghan and Netflix are trying to serve up hot and fresh for us, telling us that this is season 2. This is not season 2. We all know it's not season 2. We all know that all of this was filmed last spring and summer 2024, and now they're presenting it to us as if it was such a rounding success, season 1, that they're now bringing to the masses, to us great unwashed plebes, the season 2 rendition. No. And here's my theory. My theory about this being released now is this. Now, remember in the last few weeks that all we were hearing was all this negative press regarding the fact that Netflix has not re-signed Harry and Meghan to a new deal. That the deal as we know it, this deal that's been shoved in our face for going on 6 years about how it was worth $100 million and it's so, this and so that and such a wonderful partnership. Well, we've all been hearing about how they're not re-signing Harry and Meghan in September. As of September, that particular deal is done. The new deal is a first look basis, whereas Harry and Meghan might come to the table to Netflix with something and Netflix gets the first look and they're able to say whether or not they want to move forward. Not as glamorous, not as profitable. We all know that's the reality of the situation. But just in the past couple of days, Meghan's camp has come out with an avalanche of stories saying, oh, no, that's not it. She's in talks, everything is wonderful. They're renegotiating the terms because she's such a hot commodity, right? And now the spin that Netflix and her came out with, I think it was yesterday or the day before, is that, hey, this wonderful deal and she's been re-signed and it's this great partnership, but they don't tell us when the new season is coming, which is odd. Netflix is joining her in this statement saying, we're celebrating this renegotiation and all this garbage. Then last night, well, night to me, day to you guys in the US, this trailer drops. And I think it was dropped because they're just trying to just shoo this woman out the door. Netflix is done, okay? They're done. They've been sitting on this pile of steaming hot cow dung, this supposed season 2, for almost 6 months now. So they know they got to release it. So that's what they're doing. They're just releasing it. They're trying to just get it out, get it done. And think about it, they're releasing it at a time when people are busy. A lot of people are still on vacation. A lot of people like me and my kids and my family, we're gearing up for school, all this kind of stuff. People aren't paying attention this time of year. And Netflix knows, and guess what? I don't think they care. They do not care, but they also know that people are going to hate watch. People are going to write articles about how spectacularly bad it is, and they just want the hate clicks and they want the hate watches. As of right now, this trailer's like to dislike ratio on YouTube is absolutely terrible. Now, there's a Chrome extension that you can get to put on your Google Chrome browser to tell you the like to dislikes. You can actually see how many dislikes there are on a video, because for the past several years, YouTube has taken that feature off. Back in the old days, you used to be able to see the likes and the dislike counts for a particular video, but YouTube took that out several years ago. So if you're a creator and you go into your YouTube studio, I can see, for example, how many people like and dislike my videos. And luckily for me, I've got a pretty high like ratio compared to the dislikes, which is awesome. Thank you guys, I love you. But yeah, but just the rando person that's going to the Netflix YouTube channel, they can only see the thumbs up. They can't see any of the thumbs down. But the last I've heard is that the likes are very low compared to the dislikes. It's not a good time out there for Megzy right now. But think about it, in all actuality, just the fact that so many people are thumbs downing that video and writing comments about how much they dislike this woman and how upset they are at Netflix for continuing to prop her up says a lot about the fact that people are just over this person. They're over her. They're over her husband. They do not like traitors. They don't like backstabbers. They don't like people that trash and lie about their families. And it also speaks for the love for the British royal family on both sides of the Atlantic. Americans love the royal family, and so do most Britons. And they're tired of this woman. They are tired of Netflix trying to recycle her same old shtick to us. She has nothing to offer. And this season 2 looks like a long and boring continuation of what we all hated in season 1. So let's just get into it. And I had no intention of popping on today, but of course, Meghan has to ruin my day and ruin everybody else's by putting this on. And of course, I am going to echo what so many of us out here say. Don't watch it when it comes out. You don't have to. Just watch us. We will give you all the deets and everything you need to know about how boring and awful this show is, because I can guarantee you it is going to be boring and it is going to be awful. And before we get into the actual trailer, I just want to tell you guys on a side note, it floors me that Netflix is continuing to give this woman a platform. Now, we all know why they're doing it, because when this divorce and separation inevitably happen, they're going to want to be there to just pump out any trash that Meghan is going to try to serve up to us hot and fresh about what a victim she is, how she was wronged by her husband and the family and all this garbage. But why? Why? It's a beautiful production. I will give it that. It's a gorgeous set. The production value is beautiful. They're using top-notch music that so many people like me, like other creatives out there, could never in a million years afford to put into their projects and their films. Of course, she gets it because she's working with Netflix, and they're doing everything they can to prop up this straw woman and make her look better than she is. So the production value is beautiful. Everything is beautiful. And that's what ticks me off in so many people, is that she has been continually allowed to have a platform and to get propped up by, companies like Netflix. It's just infuriating. And the fact of the matter is that people do not like her. They don't like her husband. They don't like traitors. They don't like liars. They don't like backstabbers. People that trash talk and lie about their families continually are not likable or popular people. People don't like her. She's done rotten, horrible things that have been verified. People that write stories and articles and books about this woman, like Valentine Lowe, like Tom Bauer, have the receipts. They have everything that they need to, from credible sources to bring this to us, to prove to us that these things that are being spoken about her are not just rumor. Okay? She's not a nice person. She's done really awful things, and she has failed to apologize or atone for any of them. People do not like her, and not because she's a mixed race woman with a black mother. They don't like her because she's nasty and vicious. What did those people that used to work for Meghan back in the palace in the UK tell Valentine Lowe when he wrote his 2022 book Courtiers? They said that they suffered psychological damage and trauma working for her, that they were scared to speak up. They were scared to speak out. They were afraid of her so-called intention and her intense need for retaliation and revenge. What kind of person is that? People don't just say those types of things about somebody if there isn't a hint of truth to it. And not just one or two people, but different people on both sides of the Atlantic. Vanity Fair and The Hollywood Reporter wrote about person after person working for them, people in their employ in the United States, echoing those same types of sentiments. There's something wrong here. What's the common denominator? It's Meghan. It's all Meghan. So not only does she continue to act nasty, she never will apologize. She hasn't apologized, and it doesn't seem like she ever will. And I've said it before, but people in America and in Britain are a pretty forgiving lot. I mean, never mind the fact that she's done all the horrible, nasty things that she's done, but at least own up to them. You don't even have to so much apologize and grovel, but at least own up to the fact that, yeah, you did this, and maybe you're gonna try to atone in the future and try to do better. Nothing. Just crickets on that front. It's just a bunch of finger pointing from her and from her husband, depending on who's criticizing them for what nasty thing that they've done. So she just needs to go away, but she won't. She's, again, serving up this trailer for us, hot and fresh. So let's get into it, play by play, and we will discuss. I'm not going to show any footage. I'm just going to show stills because Netflix is very, very hardcore about people repurposing their content, and you can get copyright strikes. We don't want those around here, but we can definitely discuss the trailer, and I'll show you as much as I can. Okay. So the trailer starts out with her asking, do you want a little bit of music? And they play the song Rockin' Robin, which already puts me in the pissiest mood ever because I really like that song. And a lot of people really like that song, but now we're gonna forever associate it with this trailer and this show. And they already ruined the song, Do You Believe in Magic for me. For me, I always thought of that song. It took me back to 8th grade when I was still living in LA and the Lakers won back-to-back NBA championships. And my dad took my cousin and me to the victory parade and they were playing that song when all the players were on the float. And I remember Magic Johnson, he looked at our side of the street and he gave my cousin and I a thumbs up while they were playing that song. So to me, that's what I remember. And when they played that song in that trailer for her part 1 fiasco, I was like, how dare you? How dare you? I was so mad. So yeah, Rockin' Robin, please, please don't. Just don't. And again, it just really ticks me off that she has such an extensive music catalog that she can use because Netflix has all the money in the world. There's so many people and so many creators, lowly little people like myself, who could never, ever in a million years use good music like that because we can't afford to. So yeah, that's really fair. But anyway, and already I noticed, just like in season 1, the jump cuts that they do in the trailer. Like, I understand that they're trying to show us a lot of what they think is really cool stuff that's going to get us salivating and just so excited for this debacle. But the jump cuts are just crazy. It's just too much. And I think they do it too because they don't want to show us anything too long and linger on anything too much because then we'll just all start bitching about it and really, really just getting into the weeds about it. So I noticed that right off the bat. And then it shows her cutting bread and cutting vegetables and she has her basket and stuff. And I'm looking at this woman hold a knife. And I don't know if I talked about it in any of my recap videos from season 1. I'll link those down in the description, a few of them. But yeah, she doesn't know how to hold a knife, y'all. And maybe I should get up really quick and go grab a knife from the kitchen to show you guys what I'm talking about. I'll put a picture here. I don't want you to think that I'm some psycho bringing a knife on camera, but I have to do it for demo purposes. So maybe I'll do that. I don't know. Hold on. Okay, I could not resist being the psycho that I am. I had to go to the kitchen, get up, get a knife, and bring it back here. But I'm just so tired of this. I'm so tired of this. If this is going to be someone that we're going to supposedly learn from in the kitchen, Meghan, you got to learn how to hold a freaking knife, okay? Now, I got married later. I got married when I was 36. And I remember being in DC, going to the Smithsonian and seeing the little Julia Child's exhibit that they have in there. And if you haven't seen it in the Smithsonian, and if you like Julia Child's, go see it. It's awesome. And that was when, around the time that movie Julie and Julia came out. So she was enjoying a little bit of revitalization, Miss Julia Childs, and she's fabulous to watch. I love Julia. And I read the book, My Life in France. Love that book. Anyway, long story short, the woman doesn't know how to hold a knife, meaning Meghan, not Julia, Meghan. And I watched a bunch of Julia Child cooking videos when I first got married because I wanted to learn how to cook. I learned some basics from my mom, but I was away from my mom. My parents were in Vegas at the time. I was living in DC with my husband, so I was watching these Julia videos. And Julia tells you, you do not hold a knife like this when you cut. You don't have control. I know I look scary. You do not hold a knife like this. You hold a knife like this. You balance it between your forefinger and your thumb. And when you cut, that gives you more control. You don't balance your pointer finger on the top of a knife. Like that is just so cooking 101. Like it's so freaking annoying. So yeah, just that in of itself. She's trying to show us how to do things in the kitchen with that dang pointer finger of hers balanced on the top of that knife. I was like, good Lord, Julia, can you please come down from the heavens and school this woman on how to hold a dang knife, you know? And she's showing us how to cut bread and showing us how to arrange vegetables in a picnic basket, y'all. And I also noticed that in season 1 and now in this trailer for the season 2, she's very deliberate the way she like takes her time and she flows her fingers and she does all this kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, because she has nothing really else to show us. She's not getting down and showing us exactly what we need to do on how to say, I don't know, actually learn how to cook. It's just because this content is so shallow. It's all about aesthetics, but it's not really about how to do something or how to learn something from start to finish in the kitchen. And you know, the outfits are pretty, the hair's flowing and everything looks nice. And my daughter's always telling me, Mama, that's not her hair, that's a wig. So, okay, the wig's flowing in the food and all that. And we're just like, can you really just teach us something? Anything. Just show us something, Meghan. And then there's this one part where it shows her holding a glass container and she plops it down on the counter. And the first thing I thought was, are we back for Killer Bath Salts Part 2? I was one of the first people, to my knowledge, to talk about that killer bath salt recipe she gave us in the first episode of the first season. I'm a licensed esthetician. I watched her put that deadly concoction together and I was like, okay, holy hell, you're gonna burn someone's skin off. No ratios, no real working description of anything she's doing, the ingredients, the ratios, nothing. How unbelievably irresponsible can you be? And there's actually a woman, I don't know where that lawsuit is, but there was a woman that sued her because she indeed did burn her skin off. This woman is just so irresponsible and lazy. It's unbelievable. And she's talking in the preview about how she loves bringing people together and she's bringing all these people, family and friends together. And I'm thinking to myself, what family, Meghan? What friends, Meghan? You don't have any real family that you are inviting or showing us or letting us into your orbit. We don't know any of these people. I mean, we know who they are because we've watched people like your half siblings and your father give interviews where they're talking about how you ghosted them and are talking trash about them. That's what we know about your family. But all the people that she's bringing in on her show, these are people that are either paid and in her employ. They're in her rich little bubble Montecito orbit there. And I guess they don't mind negative PR and they want their names out there too. I do not understand it personally. Myself, I don't understand it. And the few names that I do know and recognize, like Chef Andres and the Chrissy Teigens and the Jay Shettys, well, there's a lot going on there. Chrissy Teigen, really? This is who we're digging up? This is who we're trying to resuscitate here? She's really a kind and positive person, isn't she? She's the type that you would never catch online telling a 16-year-old girl to unalive herself by taking a dirt nap. No, not Chrissy. We wouldn't catch her doing something like that. And then Jay Shetty, I kind of recognize that guy. I mean, I know who he is. He's got a really, really popular podcast and YouTube channel. He's kind of like those kind of guru-y, self-motivational type people. And he's really famous for having kind of an interesting backstory and how he pulled himself up. But then there's been a lot of rumbling lately about how people are starting to question that origin story. So there's stuff swirling around him too. And I'm just like, interesting how a lot of these people all tend to flock together and support Meghan. But I digress. So yeah, why don't you invite your real family on the show, Meghan? Why don't you invite Doria on the show for a special baking pot brownies with my mom episode? Now that would actually be authentic. We all can buy the fact that Doria is probably down with making the pot brownies, allegedly. But I mean, that's something I'd watch. Don't you think that we would all like to see how you really interact with your mom? Not these carefully curated clips from a Netflix Trash Talk Fest documentary, but let's just see you in the kitchen with someone that knows you inside and out, Meghan. Someone that knows what you're all about and where you come from. Now, we'd watch that. That is authenticity. So yeah, and then she's talking a lot of mumbo jumbo about let's get together and let's get creative and let's learn something new. Hopefully we'll learn something because we didn't learn a dang thing in season 1. We learned how to rebag pretzels and make killer bath salts and how to clink glasses and say cheers to everybody while you throw your head back with your veneers flashing and, remind us all how wonderful you are. Okay, fair enough. Mind you, we haven't seen season 2. Maybe we will learn something. God, I hope so. Hopefully we learn something. Otherwise, what the hell? Why is Netflix giving this woman more money and a platform? Again, what is happening here? Then they cut to a scene of her sitting with some girlfriends at a pottery wheel with her hands in pottery. And I'm thinking, first of all, it looks gross. And I'm thinking, okay, so what is that? Are you molding and remodeling and fashioning a new set of man parts for Harry that you can then reattach to that poor man so maybe he can get his voice back and all this? I mean, help us. Help us. And then something else completely gross. They show a clip of her at a fishmonger or a fish market or something. She's there with this blonde lady who I've never seen before in my life. But she's standing there at this fish market right up against this big ice area with this fish, these big iced up raw fish. And she's there in another expensive looking outfit, this blazer with this long sleeved shirt. And she's right up there, sleeves down right next to all that grossness. You can see her Cartier watch that she inherited from Diana. And I'm thinking to myself, why are you wearing that? Like, pull your sleeves up. You're standing next to a big, disgusting raw fish. I mean, and she's there practically with her hands right in it. And I'm just, this is so gross. This is just so unbelievably gross. And then she's showing us another blonde lady and her recycled makeup artist, and they're talking about so much joy. They're experiencing so much joy. They're outside and they're making flower arrangements. And again, this is just re-vomited, rehashed crap from season 1. And if you'll recall, season 1 showed us Meghan putting together a flower arrangement, but she didn't really talk us through much of what she was doing, like most things in this With Love series that we've seen so far. It's not so much her showing us how to do something and taking us from point A to point A, B, C, D, whatever, like down the line so we know what we're watching and what we're learning. It always just has the camera showing her doing something or engaging in some type of activity. And I guess she thinks she's teaching us something and she's kind of semi-half explaining it, but mostly just babbling, not really giving us any meat as to what she's doing. And that's my theory, because I believe that she isn't really a good instructor. She's not a good person to explain how she does things or impart knowledge. She doesn't really know how to do that. I think all she really knows how to do is the little things that she feels she's competent in. She just has them film her doing those things, and then we just kind of watch her, and I guess we're supposed to learn by just watching what she's doing, because she never really gives us any type of explanation. I think that's what Netflix just did. They would just throw her into this kitchen scene or this backyard scene with whatever people that she had to goad or pay to get on there to do it, and they're kind of just all like ha ha ha, like they're all flashing their veneers and they're all laughing and, you know, slapping each other on the back and telling each other how wonderful they are and how much joy they're feeling and how wonderful she is, but we're not learning anything. For example, I don't know anything about flower arranging. I really don't. But if I had a show like With Love, Meghan, what I would do, well, first of all, I wouldn't just film one whole bank of episodes and call it season 1, season 2, you know, lie to everybody. If you're a real person that's excited about having an opportunity from a company like Netflix, you're probably going to want to work hard to produce content that people can actually learn from and engage in. This show is something that's supposed to be something that's elevating the ordinary, that is supposed to teach the viewer something. So if she's going to talk about flowers, why not do, you know, an episode where this is how to make a spring bouquet, this is how to make a summer bouquet, this is how to make a fall bouquet. But if she was a normal hardworking person that was under a normal regular contract, she probably would have good content, and she probably would have good season after season after season, and would have an opportunity to, say, film once in the spring and then have another season filmed in the fall and another one filmed in the winter. You know, talk about the different floral arrangements by season, tailor each episode. This is a fall season or a fall episode. In this episode, we're going to talk about floral fall arrangements. We're going to talk about how to brew up yummy hot beverages for fall that children enjoy, or, you know, fun cocktails or mocktails that have an autumn fall theme, just stuff like that. I don't even pretend to say that I know as much as Meghan is always banging on that she knows, but even I know. Get creative, think about stuff, try to discover things for yourself and for your audience that we could get into. There is none of that here. And then there's a scene with this chef who is named, oh gosh, I have it here, Samin Nosrat. I don't even know how you say her last name. I apologize if I butchered it. Her name is Samin. Apparently she is a published chef author. She has her own show on Netflix. Hopefully she knows what she's talking about. But it shows her with Meghan in the kitchen, and this Samin lady as a chef, she's got quite a bit of hair, like curly hair, and I'm thinking, well, that's probably going to be a lot of hair in the food in between Meghan's wig and this lady's hair, but I digress. So Samin is apparently showing Meghan how to make a salad. And what we're doing with this salad, apparently, Samin and Meghan, is we're taking our hands and we are immersing our hands, and I mean hog wild crazy, massaging the lettuce leaves and getting in there in the nitty gritty with the salad. And I'm watching this. Can we just use some salad tongs? Can we just get some nice, clean, fresh from the dishwasher salad tongs and use that to mix up the salad? Why are we in here having a freaking crazy intimate moment with salad greens while we have to massage them? I mean, it's so unbelievably gross. Not only that, weren't we just wonderfully introduced to the world of salad making last season with her guest Alice Waters, the famous farm-to-table organic food movement restaurateur Alice Waters from Northern California, who was on her show basically just showing her how to cut a tomato, and they were freaking out about olive oil on a lettuce leaf. So we were already introduced to all the delicate ins and outs of salad last season. So now we've got this new lady, this Samin lady, doing salads with Meghan now. I'm like, okay, great, love it. Can we just give it a rest though already? Can we just give it a rest? And then there's a funny point in there where Meghan tells this Samin lady, well, you know, why don't we just skip the salad? Why don't we just skip the salad and just eat cheese? And she's just like, yeah, you're talking my language. And I'm thinking, yeah, you are talking my language too. Why don't you just cut all the BS, okay? I don't need to know how to make a salad. I know how to make a salad. We all know how to make a salad, okay? Most of us just either make it the way we make it at home, or we go out and we buy prepackaged salad. What are we watching? I think it would be a lot better if Meghan just ate cheese with this lady for an entire episode. Why don't you just eat cheese, Meghan? Eat cheese from around the world and just talk trash about everybody that you hate. I know, why don't you get some English white cheddar and sit there with Samin and talk about everybody that you hate in the UK. Talk all the trash you want about the royal family and just eat British white extra sharp cheddar. And then on another episode, you can get Velveeta cheese straight from America. And then you can talk about all the people that you hate in America. I mean, that would at least be true to form. That would at least be authentic. That we would watch and say, hey, we got a glimpse of the real Meghan. This With Love Meghan show, this is something to watch. But we're not going to get that type of authenticity from Meghan. She's not going to show us how to do anything. You want to learn how to cook? You want to learn how to maneuver your way around a kitchen? Watch old Julia Child videos. Watch Ina Garten. Watch old Barefoot Contessa reruns. Watch Martha Stewart. These women are going to tell you how to cook and what to do, how to hold a knife, okay? Meghan told the New York Times not too long ago, a few months back, that she didn't even make Thanksgiving dinner. She just dialed in for it and had it catered. This is a woman who's trying to tell us on podcasts like Jamie Kern Lima and Emma Greed's podcast that she's such a Susie homemaker and she loves cooking and, she's such a cook. She can't even show us how to hold a knife or show us something cool like how to roast a turkey. If you want to learn things, you just have to get in there and learn them. That's how I did it. And actually, when you just get in there and get your hands dirty and learn how to do something, over the years, it gets easier and easier and easier. That's how I learned how to do it, by watching Barefoot Contessa, watching Julia Child. That's how I learned how to make a Thanksgiving dinner. And in all actuality, it's not even really that hard. You just got to get it and do it. And you know what else I was thinking that is actually really, really funny is Meghan has said over the years about how fantastic her own roast chicken recipe is. And that's what she made when Harry proposed to her. That was like the engagement chicken that she did. Why don't you do that? How come you haven't given us a segment about roasting a chicken 101, from how to go to the store, buy your chicken, how to clean it once you get home? Show us that. Show us how to prep it, season it, get it in the oven, what temperature, how to carve it, how to put it on a platter, all of that. Why don't you show us that? She doesn't show us that because she doesn't know how to do it, y'all. She's never done it. I guarantee you, she's never roasted a chicken in her life. God save her. It's all either pre-made, pre-packaged, catered in type stuff. I don't believe any of this garbage for a second from this woman. So yeah, this show is so wonderful, and Meghan is actually really, really excited in a lot of these clips. I think that they are really, really doubling down on showing us how much happiness and joy that Meghan exudes to people, because she has to remind us that it doesn't matter what a dumpster fire 2025 has been. Remember when she's writing in the sand on her first Instagram post, 2025 is going to be her year? It hasn't been a good year for her, but she is hell-bent on showing us how happy she is. And I think it's just a way to clap back at all of us, as if to say, I'm still happy no matter what, and I'm still on TV no matter what. Don't worry about me. I'm just so wonderful. And she does a lot of laughing and squealing. There's a lot of different scenes. There's one, for example, where she's standing outside in front of a big grill with Jose Andres, her chef friend, and he's grilling something, he's doing something, while she's kind of standing back and watching him. Because again, if you'll notice, all of the hard recipes and the recipes that are a little bit complicated, like remember the one from season 1 with Roy Choi, the one that was showing her the Korean kind of Mexican style street taco type stuff, she's not really doing any of it. She's kind of hanging back and letting these people kind of take the reins and show her. So she's doing that too. She's standing off to the side while Jose's working the grill, squealing, and she does a lot of squealing, and she does a lot of all that stuff that she does. And she's also particularly excited in the one scene that does show Chrissy Teigen. And to me, it looks like they're making homemade little baked crackers, like the type that you make on those sheet pans. Now, I've seen tons of recipes like that in the past from Pinterest. This is all circa 2010 to 2017. I've done those type of recipes. I have experience with that. I know what they're doing. When my son was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, he was just 3 years old, and all little kids, they love carbs. They loved animal crackers. I used to get him those little Annie's, little bunny crackers and stuff, but they're a lot of carbs. So I was always on the hunt on the internet to try to do these DIY ones at home that were less sugar, less carbohydrates than the boxed versions. I tried some of it. It's kind of a process. It's not too hard, but I think that's what they're showing in this particular one. And they're just like popping them in their mouth, and they're supposed to be so crunchy and delicious. And it shows Chrissy Teigen having what looks like a just gross and moment that probably should be behind closed doors, because she's getting really intimate with these crackers. And she's like, I could be doing this all day. And I'm just... This is not stuff that we should be having kittens over, okay? It looks like some dry sheet cracker bake thing you're doing. Not that big of a deal. This is not high stakes stuff, y'all. There's one more thing that I'm going to talk to you guys about, and it's the very end of this trailer. And I think, this is my theory, this was put in and left in deliberately and strategically by Meghan to kind of fire a warning shot to her husband, Prince Harry. So it shows her with Chef Jose Andres in the kitchen, and I guess they're preparing lobster. And Meghan she's really creepy in the way that she's kind of getting down low and like staring at Jose while he's doing something, because of course Jose is the one that's doing the actual work in the kitchen and showing Meghan what he's doing. She's just watching and observing, which says to me, why is this show called With Love, Meghan anyway? She's supposed to be teaching us. She never teaches us. She never does anything. But anyway, so she's kind of staring at him and stuff. And they're talking about their love of lobster. And she's like, well, who doesn't love lobster? And he's like, yeah, who doesn't love lobster? And then she kind of leans in and says, well, do you know who doesn't love lobster? My husband. Because of course, again, she can't say Harry. She never can say his name. These narcissists have to devalue and demean people because they can never assign people their name, who they are, because that's in a kind of tiny way taking away their personality and their uniqueness and their wholeness as a person. It's something that shows their possession of that person, saying, my husband. I mean, you can say my husband once in a while or in conversation, but she does it all the time. She never says his name. So she's saying that my husband doesn't like lobster. And Jose's taken a little bit aback, and he says, and you married him? And she's just like, ha, ha, ha. And I'm thinking to myself, little dig, that is a little dig. That is a little warning shot put in right there, because it seems innocuous. It seems like a little joke, but it really isn't. And it stands out because it's in direct contrast and it's in conflict with this narrative that Harry and Meghan have been trying to propagate for years and years and years, of all this, public hand-holding that they've done and all of this kissy stuff that they like to portray in the media, and how happy they are and blissful they are. And that's in direct contrast to that narrative. So for them to put that in and leave that in there, like you ended up marrying him, speaks volumes. It tells you everything that you need to know. She's gearing up, and so is Netflix, for when this inevitable separation or divorce happens. They're going to be ready. So that, I think, was a warning shot. So I want you to let me know what you guys think about this. Are you as disgusted, and is your stomach turning as much as mine is? She's going to continue to force this Susie homemaker, I'm such a wonderful person that loves to welcome family and friends into my home, whole charade. If she's going to continue to try to perpetrate this in light of what we know about this woman and the dastardly deeds that she's committed and what she does and how she continues to live her life, we're going to call her on it. People are so upset at this for so many reasons. They're upset because there's so many wonderful, lesser known content creators and people that have an imagination and a brain and are, fighting to get Netflix contracts, to know that they continually platform this woman and they platform a mean, just woman that is despicable and treats family and friends in a discardable and despicable way, to know that she's continually getting these chances, even though we do know that this contract with Netflix is on the way out the door. But just to know that this is being shoved down our throats. I'm so sick of these elites. I'm so sick of all these people. It's so obvious that they hate our guts. They don't care what the public thinks. So when it comes out, don't bother watching it. Don't bother watching it. That's why I'm here. That's why so many of us on YouTube are here, to recap it so you don't have to watch this. So yeah, I'm going to go hug Gracie the cat. I'm going to maybe go do something fun with my kiddos this afternoon. They start school tomorrow, and Mom is feeling a little sad today because I homeschooled my kids for 5 years, and starting tomorrow, they are starting school. Homeschooling is illegal here in Germany. We just got to go with it, but new chapter. The good thing is that they're excited, so I'm excited for them. It's going to be a great time. I just know it. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. When this debacle premieres on August 26th, I will try to do my best, watch as many episodes as I can. I can't guarantee that I'm going to watch every single one and review every single one, because that is a fate worse than waterboarding. And I don't know. I can't promise anything. I'm going to do my best for you. But again, that's why we're here. We're going to recap it. We're going to go through it together. And I can't wait for you to join me on the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.